Hi HCGers, this is HCG Berry Babe, and I'm checking in with statistics and Fat But Foxy update, and then a little bit of food porn at the end. I had a rough night with carbs last night, and I started out with things that really were not stretching what I could eat because of my surgery, but then it kind of digressed. And I was up 4.5 pounds this morning, which I've only lost 10.3 for this round, and it's day 17, and I'm only 0.2 below LDW. So it just seems like 17 days. I kept the 10 that I put on above LDW, but you know, kind of processed with Fat But Foxy today. She said, "What can I do to help you?" And by the time I talked to her, I was back on track. But I seem to do okay with one challenge and two challenges and maybe three. But then when one last little straw hits, it's just enough to make me itchy enough to slide into an area where I shouldn't. Like tonight, for example, went to my mother-in-law's, and she's 94 today, I think, and there was a lot of food, and I had my protein bar and 2 bottles of water, and I was fine. I was literally fine. But what I have discovered is after I experience something like that, I might not cheat until 2 days later. So then if something else happens and something else happens and something else happens, it's like I store that up. And then I don't have a real necessarily clear reason to eat. So I'm getting closer to being able to process that. Also, I think, you know, historically, changing decades is rough for me, and I think I didn't believe that I could make it from 60 down into 50s without hitting the 60s again, and it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I need to come up with some new prophecies. So I've done it now. I've done it once. There's no need to do it again. I don't need to make this a 6 times, 7 times up and down thing. Okay, I hit the 50s again. Let's be done. But I'm not twisting again. Just twist the first time. Fat But Foxy has completed this morning, when she weighed 5 days of very low calorie diet. She was down 0.6 for a total loss of 6.0. She's at 209.8, and her goal is, I think, 198, because that will be just a little bit below the lowest she's ever been. And so she's really looking forward to that. She had her first lunch out today. She had been afraid to go out, and was able to order fish off a la carte. And so instead of paying $8.98, they charged her just for the piece of fish and a side salad, and the cook cooked it under the grill, or broiled it with nothing on it, and he sent word back, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And she sent word back, "Yes, I do." And so the woman she was with was this friend that I've talked about before, who ordered a huge carb-laden meal with one of Fat But Foxy's favorites. And Fat But Foxy sat there and watched her eat it. And then when they were finished, the friend says, "I should have ordered what you had." And Fat But Foxy says, "Why?" And the friend says, "'Cause now I feel really full and heavy, and yours just looks better." So little by little, Fat But Foxy isn't preaching to her about HCG. And I said, "But you know, you're living by example. And once your weight loss starts to show, people are going to want what you have, just like you want what I have." So all in all, it's been good. I've recovered from my cheat. Well, not on the scale, I haven't recovered, but I've had totally protein today. And I think I'll do an apple tonight before I go to bed. But I wanted to talk, and here's where the food porn starts. And I think this is Hebbie Dobby's favorite. Now, one of the reasons I got into trouble was that Tuesday night I went to my class in Ypsilanti, which is an hour and a half, solid hour and a half from where I live. And they have a Trader Joe's and a Whole Foods. And where I live, we don't have one. So unless I'm going to a meeting a distance down into the Detroit area, I don't have access to a lot of the things. And with my surgery, when I do carbs, I'm prescribed to have whole grain. And so one of the things that I have done is look for whole grain carb things that I can have when I can have carbs. And I have found whole grain pretzels, except they have honey in them. And I found a couple of variations of whole grain crackers. And one I found at Whole Foods store it was whole grain, and it was only like 6 carbs per cracker. They weren't that good, but they were individually wrapped, which was good. And I started with one of those. Very innocuous, very vague. If I'd had one and stopped, I'd have been okay. I have trouble stopping with the one carbs. Like the carbs get in my system, and that's why I couldn't do grissini or Melba. It's like Nancy put on her Facebook, can you binge on Melba? Been there, done that. So I was at Trader Joe's, and I was at the cash out counter where they have that strange put your card on the other side from where you stand kind of a thing. And these were there. And I looked and I said, I think that's what Hebbie Dobby likes. So I bought 2, and I knew that all this stuff, I also got some of the individually wrapped cashews, and I knew that all this stuff was not P2. I knew that a lot of the stuff was not even going to be P3, and I was looking at minimum 3 to 6 weeks away before I could touch most of this stuff. But I'm compulsive, like, okay, you can handle it. And when I bought it, I was in a pretty good place, and I put it in the trunk. Hebbie Dobby had suggested that, but the beater that I usually drive, I can't get into the trunk. If I pop, I can't use the trunk. But the car the engine won't die. It's a Buick Regal 98, and the engine won't die, but the car is falling apart. But I had the brakes fixed, but I need tie rods or turning rods or something. And I said, okay, I'll fix the brakes so I can tool around town, but when I go long distance, then I have to take the car that my daughter usually drives, because until I get some kind of employment, I can't get a different car. So I put it in the trunk, and I was really proud. Now, on the way home afterward, I just really was craving something, and I was glad that it was in the trunk. So after I had had some crackers and some nuts, I think I was watching a vlog and somebody was talking about chocolate or chocolate delight or something, and I remembered the chocolate bars. So I had 2 pieces, and they're maybe inch by inch and a half square, and I had 2 squares. It was like, okay. Well, then as the evening progressed, for my mother-in-law's birthday, I had to make caramel corn. I promised porn. There's very little. She buys what she wants, and she doesn't eat much, but she really likes my caramel corn. So I was making a couple batches of caramel corn, and I started having gas. And it wasn't gas that I could control. It just was like whooshing, and it didn't have an odor. It just was whooshing, and the longer the night went on, the bigger the whooshes, and it was almost like somebody stuck a pipe up my rear, and the wind was blowing through in the wrong direction. And what in the world? What in the world? Well, then I realized that the first ingredient on here is mannitol, and mannitol is sugar alcohol. Mannitol is what they cut cocaine with, and people know when they've gotten a bad cut of cocaine, not a lot of cocaine, because they have too much mannitol because they get diarrhea. So it says excess consumption may cause a laxative effect. Well, I didn't have the laxative effect, but oh my God, I had the gas. Now, I haven't had any mannitol since I had my last surgery, and sugar carbs without fat give me gas anyway. You know, jelly beans, things like that. And so this, no. I will be passing the rest of this and the other one I bought on. So, no, I won't be doing that anymore. So, I am on track. I'm doing well. Why did I have that cheat? I don't know. I think I was having a temper tantrum. I got left home alone and I got stuck. I was very frustrated that I sat at home and I really wanted to leave. I really needed to leave. I knew that, and maybe I said this already, so if you've heard this story, then click me off because there won't be anything after. But I couldn't leave because I was expecting, I had ordered brown bottles to mix the HCG in, and they had to be delivered by, I had to sign for them from FedEx. Well, unbeknownst to me, as my husband and daughter were leaving the house, my husband signed for them. And they were at the house the whole time that I was sitting watching the clock waiting for the FedEx guy to show up. And it was part of that wanting not to be there, wanting to get out because I felt like pacing, but having to be there because I didn't want to risk not getting those bottles. I felt trapped. And then it rained, it poured, and it was like, well, you know. So I think last night, being stuck when I didn't want to be stuck, I felt trapped. And that, I think, was maybe the last straw trigger. I don't think it would have been the only trigger, but it was like I was very frustrated because usually one of us picks up the mail, we text the other. But both my daughter and my husband were driving as they get into the car, and we have a law in Michigan, you don't text when you drive. But hopefully my husband will remember to text me the next time, because I've repeated the story more than once, and he knows that I'm not real pleased. I said I probably wouldn't have cheated if you had at least let me know that the package was there, because I could have gone out and done something to distract myself. So I don't blame him. He's not the one that put the food in my mouth, so I can't blame him for my cheating. But I can blame him because I can blame him to the extent that I think he was inconsiderate because he knew I was waiting. But I have a bad memory, and he's old too, so, you know, gotta forgive him. But still, damn it, now I got 4.5 pounds I gotta take off again. So, hope everybody else is doing well. Life goes on, and it was an oh shit. Get back on track. And that's all I have for now. Bye-bye.